Hey, welcome back to Kotlin Conversations, where we're having conversations with just some of the amazing people here at Kotlin 2026. I'm Huynh Thuy Dao again, and I am speaking with
Dan Kim.
Hey, Dan.
Hi.
Dan and I have been friends for a while, and I dragged him into this conversation with me. Dan, for people that aren't friends with you or just happen to not know you, tell us a little bit about what you do and your history with Kotlin.
Yeah, right now I'm an engineering manager, but for a long time I was a Kotlin developer. Started off with Android back in the day. And when was that, 8, 9 years ago or something?
Okay.
Yeah, and so was one of the earlier adopters on Android, and then we were all celebrating and super happy when it became the first class language, or the first class language for Android. And then from there, did Android for a long time, and then kind of moved off into engineering management, and then have sort of recently gotten more interested in like what Kotlin can do for other platforms, specifically the web, just because it's being able to transport some of those skills from my Android life and bring it to other platforms is like kind of something I've always wanted to do. Always loved building for the web.
Yeah.
Was always kind of bad at it. So being able to write Kotlin for the web has been like kind of a cool unlock.
Yeah, I know that you have experience with Ktor and you're playing around with that, and then this year talking about WASM with Kotlin, right? Tell me a little bit about like how that project started.
Yeah, so like last year I had the sort of itch. I wanted to make a side project thing. I just wanted to do something for myself. And so I knew that Kotlin was my language and I didn't really want to do it in anything else. And so I kind of was exploring, how can I do this just in Kotlin because I'm familiar with it, I like it, it's my language of choice. And I didn't really want to learn like a JavaScript framework. I didn't want to learn any of the front end stuff. Yeah. Because I'm lazy and I only have so much brain capacity. So I kind of was looking around and I figured out a way to do it where I used some of the third-party UI libraries that were written in Java but could be written with Kotlin. Yeah. And then kind of made the rest of the stack using JetBrains Expose on the database side and coroutines and all the good stuff. So I was able to do that last year. But the part that I didn't love was that it wasn't using, the UI part really wasn't like a JetBrains library. It wasn't really, it didn't totally match up with like the rest of the stack. So in I think September of last year, WASM finally got to beta. It's now a supported target and supported in all major browsers. So started looking back at it again and kind of redid my talk to now bring in Ktor and bring in WASM as a target. So it's really uniform and well architected and kind of all JetBrains libraries all the way through. And I've always kind of wanted to do that. And I was able to do that. So do you feel like you're a front-end developer now? Probably will never be a front-end developer, but it is like really revealing, right? You don't have to write any JavaScript. You don't have to write any CSS. You know, you just use your compose knowledge and the compose styling stuff, and it works and it translates over to the web. So it's kind of awesome.
Do you like if you're asking yourself honestly, do you see any gaps there, like from I guess normal front-end development, or do you think that it's pretty seamless?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like writing the compose code, it's all pretty straightforward. Now I didn't do like the wackiest, wildest stuff. I didn't get into a lot of the like deep animations or anything like that. But a lot of it is just straight transferable from just whatever you know about compose. There are some caveats, like in WASM, right? It is in beta still. It is using Canvas to write everything, so it's not writing to the DOM. So there's accessibility stuff. There are things about it that are not perfect. So I'm not sure it's like 100% like make your enterprise apps like this, but for creating something for yourself, for writing a small project at your work, you know, doing stuff like that, I think it totally is viable.
I mean, if you think you gave it like 2-3 years, do you think can maybe, I guess, in terms of like if someone was planning for the long term and trying to invest in in something that could give them that flexibility to do, you know, more something webby with their current Kotlin skills, do you think that maybe 2-3 years that you might change your answer?
I would certainly hope so, right? Like WASM is a standard. It's a W3 standard, right? So there is some stuff that's just like the consortium has to do stuff to push it forward. Then the browsers have to support it. So some of it is not, you know, a lot of it is not under JetBrains' control. However, I think they are pushing pretty hard on that target. So as long as the consortium pushes it forward and the browsers kind of keep up and the technology itself progresses, I certainly hope so, because I don't want to write HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I just want to write compose.
No, I kind of flash back to like literally like right before I started Android I was finishing up with like I used to work on this platform called Flex, which was like an app, a web app, a rich oh my god, we called them rich internet applications back in the day, and it was built on top of Flash. And then when that died because Steve Jobs killed it, I was like in this like how can one say like purgatory of like nowhere. And that's like right before I got to Android, and then that was when I was trying to learn like Backbone or something else. And and I have to admit, like part of me still understands, and this is like still a thing, that web is of course pretty much most apps, most any business, web is still number one in terms of like engagement with a user. So there's still this temptation to like, I need to learn JavaScript or TypeScript, one of those things, gosh help me. But it kind of, I don't know, as someone who, again, like has spent a lot of time in like Java, Kotlin world, it does seem like a nice alternative, especially given like some of the success KMP. I'm still like I'm really happily surprised by how KMP is done, because, you know, I've been saying this in a lot of interviews that, you know, I'm old enough to remember, you know, back in the, you know, kind of like, you know, like.
Yeah, it wasn't even an idea before.
Well, yeah, people wanted to write once, one, and everyone, that was the whole thing with Java, right? But then it became its own like specific thing. But now like the idea of truly cross-platform, multi-platform development was I wouldn't say a pipe dream, but it had a lot of rough edges, or it had a lot of, it was like okay. So it's been really fascinating to see KMP actually be a thing that people do. And
like the web will always be there for us, right? Like, whatever the platforms decide to do, whether it's Apple or Google or whatever Android decides to do, right? You still have to push stuff through their stores right now, right? For the most part, you have to push through iOS stores. Like you can deploy a web app anytime, wherever you want. Like, you know, and that was kind of the point of my talk last year, was that like, if you really want to just get something up quickly that you own, that you can rapidly work on, that you can iterate on and don't have to go through stores and stuff, the web is still your best place to do that. And so to have a target that transfers all of the things you know already, just like if you know idiomatic Kotlin, you can work through most of the tool sets like pretty easily. And that's kind of what I hope to show in my talk tomorrow, is like, if you know Kotlin well enough, you can understand all of this. Like none of this is magic. It's actually quite lightweight and explicit and simple. And so I'm just hoping people get excited about it and will like just start making their own stuff.
I mean, I think that always is the thing, and I think it's one of the things that's most challenging thing about being an IC is like trying to switch platforms or try to, you know, kind of be where the work or the need is at. And so you kind of hope that you spend 7 to 8 years working on one platform, and you hope, goodness gracious, I really hope I can stay in this one. Not because I don't like learning new things, but because, you know, it's hard to switch. It's hard to change over. So the idea that I could still take the expertise and all the hard-earned knowledge and experience I have now and still be able to apply it somewhere is extremely appealing. It's really nice to hear that. Maybe I could be a front-end developer one day. Not really, but like, I can do it.
Yeah, and like, so there's like more, right? Like the Kotlin world has gone from being like sort of back in the day for us was like vertical was just like an Android, and then like it's gotten broader. It's got all these different targets and all these different places you can put it. So that's fun. Like that's exciting. Us being able to do different things, be more flexible, do things at work that we can spin up something like on our own. This stack basically from Ktor all the way up to compose is, you could sort of take that stack and compose. You could sort of create any little app that you wanted without having to like overthink it. You could get, you know, CRUD endpoints up. You can get, you know, a database up very quickly. You can get a UI up very quickly. You can do it in a couple days. So that's kind of fun to have something like that to play with.
And I guess I'm super biased being a Kotlin super fan, but it feels like also the fact that the community and the various like people, applications, organizations, whatever, that use Kotlin now, that also feeds back in, because now we're getting a lot of different people using it in a lot of different ways, a lot of different use cases. Just like everything else, like the more we exercise it, the stronger it becomes. You know, like
it'll be self-reinforcing, right?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Like it's still like there's still definitely many companies, including the one I work at now, like it's like mostly just like backends, like right, it's just mostly backend, or you might have like a KMP like shim for between iOS and Android, right? Just like some of the business logic stuff. So it's still working its way into like formally into like companies, but it's got to start somewhere. And so like if individuals can like start working with these things and sort of building stuff, you know, small applications, and showing that they can target 4 different platforms just right out of the box, that's pretty awesome.
I'm gonna like switch, because there's like, obviously I feel like there's an elephant in the room. It's not really an elephant in the room anymore. It's like literally the other thing in the room with us a lot is AI. And like what I love about your talks the last few years has been like just you and like, you know, you're an EM now, but you're still one of us. You're an IC man, for engineer forever. So you can, you know, like you kind of run the gamut. And I think what I love about your talks is that it's just you exercising that part of your brain and learning new things and kind of, you know, I guess like, I don't want to make you sound old, like, just make you sound old. You're just keeping those skills up, man. Just keep getting the rust off. But I do think it's like something that is like, that we just like to learn things. Engineers like to learn things and build things. I'm kind of curious what your take is on like, is like the current state of, you know, like generative AI especially has kind of exploded. And even in the last year, I think since I last saw you, everything is a lot different now, and the way that we're all approaching it is different. I think in the context of what we're seeing now where, you know, either people are vibe coding more, and that's like normal people, not just like us engineers, but everybody. But then also things like, you know, the advent of like, have you heard of micro apps and things like that, where it's like basically, because all these platforms are allowing people to kind of make their own widgets or their own apps, like, oh, everybody's a coder now kind of thing. I'm kind of curious on your take on, you know, how does all this affect or not affect your kind of approach to doing things like learning Kotlin WASM, or how maybe you're seeing your juniors or stuff kind of like operate in the space?
So it's complicated.
Yeah.
There are many layers to all of that.
Yeah. I asked you a simple question.
Yeah, I think like, I mean, AI, just generally speaking, right, is a tool.
Yeah.
I see it as a tool just like any other tool that we have used previously. And it can be, any tool can be useful if used properly and used ethically. Yeah. And then it can be very dangerous and do a lot of bad things if you use it badly, right? You can use a chainsaw correctly and you can use a chainsaw like in a really dangerous way.
Yeah, 100%.
And so like what it ends up being is that in all capacities, whether you're an IC or an EM or a leader or whatever, it's like you just have to recognize like it is a tool. There are things that it's good at, and there are going to be things that it's bad at.
Yeah.
And there are going to be things that we learn along the way, and there have to be sort of guardrails on all those things, whatever you want to call it, rules, governance, whatever fancy word you want to use for it. You have to have something to sort of like put the guardrails up,
right,
and sort of like measure outcomes. Like, what are we doing with all this? And like, what are we actually producing? Are we producing a product that people like? Are we gaining customers? Are we making revenue? Whatever. Like all the vibe coding stuff is a lot of like, I created a thing, but there is no like sort of net result. Or there's no measurable result. It's a lot of just like we created things and we're sort of spinning up projects and that kind of stuff. So all of this has like and I try to talk about it tomorrow, is like all of it has a human element to it, right? Whether you're learning stuff, you're just bouncing back and forth off the LLM, that's fine. That's a good way to sort of like get ideas and learn. But you don't want to take it to the point where like it's doing everything for you or architecting your entire idea for you. Right? That's like probably taking it too far where you're maybe not going to learn from it. So you just like have like, and like we're all trying to figure it out at the same time. And nobody really knows how to do it. So like, people just have to have a strong sort of like North Star of this is what I see it as, and then we'll sort of line up to that. And if you do see it as a tool and something that could be potentially useful, but still has potential downsides, then you can kind of guide all your conversations and how you manage people and how you do your project work toward that North Star. If you think that like it will do everything for you and cure cancer, then that's not a direction I would subscribe to, but that is a direction and you can go that way, but I don't think that that's correct, right? It is, you just have to have like a North Star to guide yourself, and then it's fairly straightforward. Now, whether or not your North Star lines up with your companies or your managers or whatever, that's the tricky part, right? And so as an IC or as an engineering manager or a leader, you have to negotiate and try to line all those things up. Yeah. And that's the hardest part, right? And what you don't want to lose is like the human element of engineering. Like that's the fun stuff. People want to collaborate. People want to talk about the stuff that they've made. They don't want to have like endless meetings, but they want to talk about the thing that they created. They want to talk about if it's good. They want to talk about how it's architected and if it's solving a problem that people have. People like crave that. They want that. And you can't just bounce that off a robot all day. I
like that. I think that's a great thing to leave for us is that collaboration and that wanting to, as you said, communicate and collaborate and solve problems. I like that. And on that very positive bombshell or note or whatever you want to call it, we're going to wrap up. Dan, if people wanted to find you on the internet, how can they do that?
Mostly hang out on Blue Sky, so I'll see you over there.
All right, cool. Thanks so much, dude, for taking time to chat with me. And thank you all for your time as usual. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.